Good evening, everybody. July 2nd, 2024. Welcome to our public council meeting. I see we have most members of council in attendance. Councillor Lane sends her regrets, and Deputy Mayor Kiley is joining us via the Zoom connection. So welcome, everybody, again. Let's begin the meeting. Before you, council, you see the agenda, and I'm going to call for a motion. Moved by Councillor Rice. Thank you. And second by Councillor Fry. All in favor of accepting the agenda? And I note there is nothing outside the kit. We begin today's public council meeting by respectfully acknowledging the province of Newfoundland and Labrador as the ancestral homelands of many diverse populations of Indigenous peoples, including the Beothuk, who have contributed to 9,000 years of history on the island of Newfoundland. Excuse me. Today, this province is home to diverse populations of Indigenous and other people. We acknowledge with respect the diverse histories and cultures of the Mi'kmaq, Innu, and Inuit. We honor this beautiful land together as we strive for collective and true healing and reconciliation. Minutes before you, council, before we adopt them from the previous meeting, which was on June 18th. Council, if you have any errors or omissions, now is a good time to report them to the city clerk and your council colleagues. Hearing none, calling for a motion now to adopt the minutes. Moved by Councillor Locke, seconded by Councillor Antle. All in favor? And
Aye.
opposed? And that's motion carried as well. Any business arising, folks? No proclamations today. We do have a presentation, and I'm happy to say that we're joined today by MHA Stoyles, and coming out of the Memorial Day events yesterday and Canada Day, as well as the interment of the unknown soldier at the National War Memorial. MHA, I almost said Councillor Stoyles again. MHA Stoyles is here to present the pins, and as we always call each other, Lucy, would you care to speak first?
Today in War Memorial on Sunday, I noticed that council didn't have the pins. Some of the council didn't have the pins, so I talked to some of my colleagues because I was after running out, and I managed to get some pins for the rest of council. So I came today to present you with the pins for the 100th anniversary of the Newfoundland Labrador National War Memorial, and a lovely pin. So I have one for each of council. Plus, I also have the Government of Newfoundland Confederation pin, the 75th anniversary pin, and I have one of those for each member of council as well. So if councillors would like to come up and get their pin, and it's certainly always a pleasure to be here. It brings back old times. Jim is sitting in my seat, and I say sitting in my seat because I was there next to where Isabel is for almost 26 years. So it's always nice to come back. I see an awful lot of the staff have changed, or some of them are former staff and filling in. But today, I don't think there's anybody at the table that any of the staff that was here when I was here, other than in different roles that you've played. Anyway, like I said, it's always a pleasure. We come on a regular basis and meet with council, usually several times a year, but normally we're in the back room and talking about any issues that the city has. So I'm always only happy to come and have a chat with council. So I see, Mayor, you've taken your pins.
No, I've actually taken the deputy mayor's.
Oh, I was
able
gonna-
attend in
I was
person,
gonna
so I
say,
got them right here for you.
Nicole, I was going to say, Nicole, welcome back, and I have your pins left here for you. So, yeah.
Well, it was
Nice
nice
seeing you.
yesterday to celebrate the province's 75th anniversary as being, not being part of Canada, but as being a Canada Day celebration. And the Memorial Day, MHA Stoyles was very touching. You know, at the same time, there was a wake, a funeral, a procession, a very somber time, but certainly recognizes the the battles that many Newfoundlanders endured during the First World War and the sacrifices they made so we can be here today. It protected our democracy and our freedom, and we owe them all a debt of gratitude.
I think every family in Newfoundland was affected in some way or had some relative grandfather or relative uncle that played a part in the wars. And there was over 40,000 people that showed up yesterday to the service. So it shows the impact that it played in this province and the number of people that defected in Newfoundland and Labrador. It was such a touching. You didn't want to be over. I mean, you were down there in the rain at times, pouring rain, but the rain didn't affect us at all. It was just, it was somewhere you had to be yesterday, and it was certainly an honor for me and a pleasure to be down there, sitting among all my colleagues and all the residents of Newfoundland and Labrador. Anyway, I'm
Well,
invite
we're
everybody
here
to come up and grab
Here
their
to
pins.
accept our pins.
Chelsea's. I also have Chelsea's pins here for her as well, Mayor. So I will lay them on your desk as well.
All the pins I got. All right, folks. I see next on the agenda, corporate services and public works. Lead is going to be Councillor Rice, and in Councillor Lane's absence, we're going to rely on Councillor Locke. Thank you so much. Carry on.
Thank you, Worship, very much. We got a pretty big agenda here tonight, but it's all good because we're moving along, I guess, with approvals and a lot of our items for our agenda here tonight. The first one actually is our invoices for approval. I just want to add before I go into the invoices, we have 13 on our agenda there tonight. And as always, we're part of the regional services. So I just want to make a comment on our water consumption for May of 2024, $235,394.89. As well as our tipping fees for Robin Hood Bay. We're pretty well part of the regional services, but we do pay our share, the same as all the other municipalities around the Northeast Avalon. So we have the committee recommends that the following invoices totaling $466,622.18 be approved for payment. You can see them in your kit, and I so move.
Seconded. Moved by Councillor Rice. Thank you. And seconded by Councillor Locke. Any questions, council? I'll vote, call for the vote. All in favor? Contraminded? And that's carried.
Second item on our agenda is our payment register and purchase card report. For information of council, the following payment register for June the 13th to the 26th, 2024, totaling $1,952,622.14. And the purchase card report also for April the 26th to May the 25th, 2024, totaling $314,348.81. Just for information purposes only there. Scrolling down to our next item, number 3. We have a professional development for travel requests for Mayor Dave Aker to attend the American Public Works Association, the APWA PWX, this is the Public Works Conference from September the 8th to the 11th, 2024 in Atlanta, Georgia. The background is when the committee reviewed the background information regarding the above noted request as distributed prior to the meeting. The request was supported by the committee at their meeting of June the 3rd, 2024, and by the committee of the whole at their meeting of June the 18th, 2024. And in the interest of time, the committee had also supportive of the advising the mayor to proceed with planning to travel to the interim of necessary to avail of seat sale. So recommendation for Corporate Services and Public Works Committee recommends that ratification of the approval of the request by Mayor Aker to attend the American Public Works Association Public Works Conference in Atlanta, Georgia from September the 8th to the 11th, 2024, and I so move.
Seconded.
Moved by Councillor Rice, second by Councillor Locke. Anybody, any questions? All in favor? Those opposed? Carried.
Number 4 is our travel request, another travel request for Mayor Dave Aker to attend the 2024 Municipalities Newfoundland and Labrador Conference in Gander from November the 7th to the 9th, 2024. Recommendation is that the travel request by Mayor Dave Aker to attend the 2024 Municipalities Newfoundland and Labrador Conference in Gander from November the 7th to the 9th, 2024 be approved, and I so move.
Seconded.
Again, moved by Councillor Rice. Thank you. And second by Councillor Locke. Anybody have questions? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Contrary-minded? Carried.
The 5th item on our agenda is a request for support of our annual Chamber of Commerce golf tournament. It's an annual tournament that happens to the committee reviewed a request from the Mount Pearl Paradise Chamber of Commerce for support of their 2024 annual golf tournament. The director advised that the city supported 2 teams for the golf tournament last year, and the department recommended the same level of support for 2024. The department's recommendation was supported by the committee at their June meeting, June the 3rd of 2024, and by the committee of the whole at their meeting of June the 18th, 2024. So the recommendation from Corporate Services and Public Works Committee recommends approval for the city to sponsor 2 teams in the annual Mount Pearl Paradise Chamber of Commerce Golf Tournament for 2024, and I so move.
Seconded.
Moved by Councillor Rice again, and second by Councillor Locke. Just making sure the Deputy Mayor can hear everything. You good there, Deputy Mayor? Okay, I'll call the question with that in mind. If there's no commentary further to that. Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Contrary-minded? Carried.
Thank you, Worship. I'm very excited actually to bring in the next one here, and there's 2 parts. I'm going to go to the recommendation and then read down the amount, I'll read on the very end there. So this one's the Housing Accelerator Fund Development Incentives. This one actually is give a bit of background. This one, I guess, we got $6.1 million from the federal government for housing in the city of Mount Pearl. We had, so the incentive number 1 is a I'll just give the incentives of what the program entails. The multi-unit build grant program for any housing development build with 4 units or more can qualify for a grant based on the number of units up to a maximum of $50,000 per project. So one incentive would be $1,000 per unit if occupancy permit is issued within 3 years, a $2,000 per unit if occupancy permit is issued within 2 years, and a $3,000 permit per unit if occupancy permit is issued within 1 year. Incentive number 2 is a waiver of development fees to promote new home construction. So the following fees will be waived on any new high-density housing builds within a 4-unit or more units and up to a maximum of $50,000 per project. This would include a development permit, site permit, building permit fees, and any application or associated fees. Incentive number 3 is a redevelopment of underutilized parcels of land. So the leverage in the underutilized land as well as land owned by the city to provide medium and high density development via consultation of small land parcels into large sites to unlock greater density. Will be a $10,000 grant lot to a maximum of 10 lots. Incentive number 4 is a tiered incentive program, encouraging Mount Pearl's existing property owners to optimize their current parcel of land. So with this one, there will be a $20,000 to promote new accessory dwelling units in existing single dwelling homes, and a $10,000 incentive for existing unapproved units to become legal. And the last part of this one will be an eligible under the program in a 1 per civic address. So eligible under the program is under 1 civic address. Incentive number 5 is affordable housing pre-construction soft cost grant. Stimulate the consignment and preparation of affordable housing developments within the city via parcel funds of soft cost related to activities outside of actual constructions for 4 or more units. This will include costs incurred for marketing, design, consulting fees, etc. So the soft cost program will fund 15% of total cost up to a maximum of $15,000. So let me scroll to the bottom here on this one. So the recommendation from the Corporate Service and Public Works Committee recommends the approval of the HAVE incentive as below, with all funding incentives to be subject to the terms and conditions established by the city. And I so move.
Seconded.
Yeah, this is a major step forward. Moved by Councillor Rice, second by Councillor Locke. Any comments, Council?
Worship, can you,
Deputy Mayor, and then to you, Councillor Locke. Go ahead, Deputy Mayor. Have you typed it in?
Worship, can you hear me? Oh, okay. Okay.
I'll move to Councillor Locke and switch back to you, okay? Yeah, I don't think we got your sound going yet. Councillor Locke.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to say I want to commend our staff for the tremendous work into this. This was no small undertaking. It certainly falls in line with the federal program for the Housing Accelerator Fund, or the HAF program. And it's all about building more houses more quickly. And intensification is a theme around this council table. We realize with limited land space that to be sustainable into the future, we have to increase our tax base. And one of the strategies going forth is to promote intensification. So when this HAF program was announced, it aligned perfectly with our strategy that we already had in place in Mount Pearl. So I'm delighted to see, and I know we had a session last week where there was keen interest in the HAF program, where we outlined the incentives to developers. So I look forward to this coming into effect and attracting more development to our city. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Are we ready? Our city, help me out here, CAO, if you could. You're a little bit closer to the font, please.
Our city, like so many across Canada, are experiencing demand for sale, inclusive and accessible houses. And she likes the initiatives we've introduced.
Yeah, good stuff, Deputy Mayor. We've been working on this since February when we, and to Councillor Locke's point, we've worked very hard. It's nice for us as members of council to be able to set a little direction and approve it, but I know CAO, a lot of staff, the committee has worked very hard on it, so congratulations. I'll call the question. Oh, sorry, Councillor Fry.
Thank you. I just wanted to add, there last week, I attended the Atlantic Mayors Congress on your behalf, Your Worship. And one of the main topics of conversation was on housing and climate. And it almost gave me reassurance to know that we were on the right path, because Sean Fraser was there, who is the federal minister of housing, as well as three of the Atlantic provinces ministers. And they were saying Canada needs, the goal is 5.8 million homes by 2030. And the problem is when there's such a demand for homes, prices for rentals increase. And that prices a lot of people out of the market for homes. So when you're talking about people like homeless people, it's not the unwanted and the undesirable. It's not the stereotypical. It's average, good, decent people who just can't afford the rent. Some people are working minimum wage jobs. You've got a lot of young families who can't afford to find a place to live. And the problem is when people can't find a place, if they can't afford to live here, people can't afford to work here. So then, of course, we got the economic aspect and spin off of it. So we need homes, we need people. And there are good, decent people out there who just need a home. And Mount Pearl is a great place to live. And this just showed me that we're on the right path. Thank you.
No, thank you. Anybody else before we turn to Councillor Rice to close? You closer, sir. Go ahead.
Thank you, Worship. No, I couldn't agree more with Councillor Locke and Councillor Fry. I mean, you know, the incentive programs is something that staff work very diligently on to put together. A lot of thought and a lot of work has gone into it to come up with the incentive program. You know, it wasn't an easy task. It wasn't done overnight. I mean, like Councillor Locke said, I mean, it's a well thought out process. They put a lot of time and effort into it, and it shows by the incentives that we have in each outline of the 5 incentive programs. So, you know, it was something that, you know, when we had the federal funding announced, it's something that we were very, very proud of, that we did get the money. And we have a lot of vacant land, you know, in the city, privately owned and city owned. So, you know, it's I guess, the job of council and the city to try to move those areas forward. So this is a great incentive program. So hopefully it will work out in all areas in the city. And that's it for me, Your Worship. Thank you.
I'll call the question. All in favor? Those opposed? Carried. Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Worship. Number 7 is our recommendation for extension to agreement for high-vis clothing. So the background on this one, the city's collective agreement outlines a provision of clothing issued items for staff, with issued items allocated as required, suited to specific positions. The acquisition of clothing issue items for the Infrastructure and Public Works Department as per a combination of requests for proposal, RFP, and requests for quotations, RFQ, agreements with some additional items via request for 3 prices quotes for custom ordered as required for usual urgent needs and sizing. So on August 24, 2021, Council approved the minutes number 21-08-0-446 and the awarding of a contract to the supply of select high-vis clothing, winter parkers, insulated snow pants, rain suits, non-insulated coveralls to the lowest qualified bidder in response to the RFP 21-013 to Campbell Ship Supplies. The duration of the agreement was August 2021 until August 24, 2023. However, there was an optional to extend agreement for 2 additional years with 1 term of mutual agreement to the city and the vendor. Council at the meeting of July the 25th, 2023, approved the minutes number 23-07-392, the extension of the current RFP 21-013, agreement with Campbell's Ship Supply for high-vis clothing for a 1-year term from August 25th, 2023 to August 24, 2024. So the consideration of a second and final 1-year extension to August 2024, 2025. With the pending expiration of the agreement extension, the department contacted the vendor to inquire on their interest in availing of the option for the second 1-year extension from August the 25th, 2024 to August 24, 2025. So the vendor indicated that should the city wish to do so, they would be willing to extend the agreement for 1 additional year until August 24, 2025. However, due to continuing inflation, their resource pricing has increased and they will result in some minor increases to the pricing of the city. The unit price increase from 2023-2024 pricing with all 6 items, it's on an average of 1.96%. So the Department of Public Works recommends that the current RFP 21-013 agreement with Campbell Ship Supplies for high-vis clothing be extended for the second and final optional one-year term from August 25th, 2024 to August 24th, 2025. The department recommendations was supported by the committee at their meeting of June the 3rd, 2024, and the committee of the whole at the meeting of June the 18th, 2024. So recommendation for Corporate Service and Public Works Committee recommends approval for the current RFP 21-013 agreement with Campbell Ship Supplies for high-vis clothing to be extended for the second and final optional one-year term from August 25th, 2024 to August 24th, 2025, with minor price increasing of 1.96% due to continuing inflation on all other terms and conditions as per the original agreement. And I so move.
Moved and seconded on the floor. Anybody have questions? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Contrary-minded? That's carried.
The final report, Your Worship, is for information purposes only. Our public works status report, the following status report is provided for information. Our roads, under our roads, our work continues on our asphalt repairs, litter cleanup, sidewalk and street sweeping, maintenance halls and catch basin repairs, lawn repairs, bulk garbage collection is still ongoing and concluding up in the next couple of weeks. Parks, work continues on landscaping, prep work ongoing, maintenance of our sports fields. Our Team Gushu baseball field upgrades continue in preparation for the 2025 summer games. Our parks and open spaces are being mowed on a continuous basis. Planting has been completed for phase 3 of the urban forestry plan at our Team Gushu complex. Branscombe Pond Trail upgrades are nearing completion, and Powers Pond Trail upgrades will be commencing soon. Our commemorative bench and our tree program installations are underway. Under our fleet, we have our motor vehicle inspections on all heavy equipment, heavy-duty trucks are ongoing. Service and maintenance continue. And our UTM, our general calls for our plug sewers, service locates, new water and sewer service inspections, camera inspections, troubleshooting, water and service repairs, leak detection, valve exercising is underway. Our catch basin cleanup is underway. Our lift station inspections and maintenance is ongoing. Work in conjunction with the PED committee on our capital work projects on a lot of our sites around the city is ongoing on a continuous basis. And our final thing on this one is our water levels at Bay Bulls Big Pond is of June the 25th, 2024 is at 36 feet, which is above our normal for the past 2 years. And that's it for our committee report, Your Worship. Thank you very much.
No, thank you very much. It's the highest it's ever been in the recorded history on that chart, which is the last 4 years. And I might add, the city does a tremendous job, especially in the Public Works Department and the UTM crew in leak detection here in the city. And that helps keep our water levels, consumption levels down, and helps to maintain a healthy level at the regional water supply in what we call Bay Bulls Big Pond. All right, moving on to the next committee report. We have Planning, Engineering, Development, Councillor Antle, and the Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Your Worship. Deputy Mayor, we have a few here to go through tonight. And first one here, as we're taking advantage of some half funding, is Moffat Road, Phase 7. Request for approval to proceed with the subdivision development agreement for Marley Construction. The city has processed a subdivision application for Marley Construction Limited to develop Phase 7 of the Moffat Road subdivision. This is the final phase of Moffat Road subdivision. The phase includes the development of a total of 63 family units with or without subsidy apartments for the civic addresses number 5 to 16 Lawn Point Avenue, even and odd numbers, 69 to 79 Moffat Road, odd numbers only, 80 to 92 Moffat Road, even numbers only, 103 to 119 LaSalle, odd numbers only, 104 to 120 LaSalle Drive, even numbers only, 4 to 13 Iron Spring Roads, even and odd numbers, 1 to 10 St. Lawrence Place. The Planning Division issued DP 22 0493 dated September 12, 2022 to approve Moffett Road subdivision. Phase 7, there were 63 lots, and the condition of the development permit is that the city enter into a subdivision development agreement with Marley Construction. The Planning, Engineering and Development Committee is supportive of entering into an agreement with Marley Construction as conditioned at the development permit. Public Council to ratify the subdivision agreement with Marley Construction. And I so move.
It is moved by Councillor Antle and seconded by the Deputy Mayor. Thank you. Any comments, questions? Hearing none, I'll call for the question to approve this subdivision. All in favor? Contrary-minded? Carried. Thank you.
And number 2 has to do with 43 Greenwood Crescent and is owned by Nickel Properties and is residential intensification for proposed 24-unit road dwelling development. And as I begin, Council does recognize how important your neighborhood is to you. Right? The city is in receipt of an application by Nickel Properties to develop 24-unit dwelling development at 43 Greenwood Crescent. The property consists of 6 buildings comprising of both a single-story and 2-story units. As per section 417 and 418 of the city's development regulations, a notice of application was posted to the city's website and was published in the Telegram on Saturday, May the 4th, 2024. Notice was also circulated to 248 property owners within 150 media radius, as well as all residents of Greenwood Crescent, Clover Bray, Golden Eye, and Harlequin Crescent via Canada Post on May the 6th, in addition to our members of Parliament, our 2 MHAs, and the Mount Pearl Paradise Chamber of Commerce. There was a correction notice issued to an error, but the correction notice did not impact the required procedure for public notification and briefing sessions as per 418 of the Mount Pearl Development Regulations 2010. Prior to Council deciding on the applications, comments from the public were to be submitted in writing no later than 12 noon, Friday, May the 7th, 2024. As of that date, 5 written submissions were received by the city. The briefing session was held on the evening of May 22nd and was attended by 14 people comprised of residents, the developer, city staff, and councillors. In summary, the following concerns were brought forward. There was discontent with the proposed changes to the established neighborhood, disruption of the quiet and private nature of their street, increased traffic, consideration should be given to installing a traffic light at the intersection of Golden Eye and Tops Road. Left turning from Golden Eye onto Tops Road is very difficult. Increased noise. There was questions concerning the ownership, of potential negative impacts on property values, loss of mature trees, which could only contribute to the appeal and its environmental quality. The proposed development does not conform to Regulation 6.33 of the Residential Intensification Project. Before this went through and Council reviewed it many hours, all right? We reviewed each one of your concerns. And many of the things, there was 43 requirements in this development permit. 43, which is quite high for a development permit. And the developer has to meet each one of these developments. I talked to many of the residents in the area. But before I got into that, one of the things we talked about with half funding, I go around the city here in Mount Pearl now, and I talk to residents my age that want to move out of their homes. They're looking for another place to live. They're looking to downsize. There's no place to live. We have places in Mount Pearl right now, like Clover Bray. We have Avery Place. There's another one there in Glendale Avenue. These are intensification in another way. People want to move these, and we want to sell our homes and let younger people move in. So that was one of the decisions we had to consider when we looked at Greenwood Crescent. The subject with regards to 6.33 residential intensive project, the subject project property is located within a residential land use designation, and the proposal aligns with the intent of this designation and is consistent with the housing goals of the city's municipal plan. As I said, there's 43 items that has to be required. One of them, they had to go through St. John's Regional Fire Department. They had to make sure it's up to scratch. The City of Mount Pearl, our inspection services, the City of Mount Pearl, our finance division, our City of Mount Pearl's planning division. Water resources, that's a big key. A water resources management division with the government of Newfoundland. One of the concerns we had was brought up was the regarding the condominium corporation. This, we want to make sure it's a condominium agreement. As advised by the developer at the briefing session, the development will have common elements and be owned by the condominium corporation, with each unit being privately owned and with shared common elements, including the parking area and community gardens. A requirement is the construction of a permanent fence. If you look down on Cloverbray, you can see a permanent fence down there right now on both sides. This fence will be 6 feet high and will encapsulate both sides. It'll encapsulate number 41 Greenwood Crescent and 53 Greenwood Crescent, so it's all enclosed. Also, there's a submission of a detailed landscaping plan. I was talking to some of the neighbors over there, talking about the mature trees along your property boundaries. Those trees will stay. If they can stay, as long as it doesn't affect the impact of the building, well, our planners, our inspectors will go over there and mark the trees and make sure they're safe. And if they're safe, they will stay. And there's a landscaping plan that has to be submitted to the city. A concern was any future mini heat pumps, mini splits, and air conditioners. All right, these all have to meet our 55 DPA, so that's the noise regulations. With this here, the house is 13 feet away from the, we checked it today, it's 13 feet, each unit will be 13 feet away from the fence, and the fence is about 5 feet away from the nearest property. So it's almost, 18 to 20 feet before there's any noise. And these here will be regulated all the time. There's many things, but when I say there's 43 items, I think this is a good development for your neighborhood. It's needed in the city. People are looking for these types of homes. I think each one of us councillors have been talking to people and they want to move in. If you look at another Cloverbray, it's going to be a nice thing for your neighborhood. We looked at traffic. There was a Knights of Columbus down there and there was heavy traffic then. This is going to be 22 units, and most of these are going to be senior citizens. And now, as I say, I'm a little long-winded at times. So the Planning and Engineering and Development Committee has reviewed this application, and they do recommend approval, and I so move.
It is moved by Councillor Antle and seconded by the Deputy Mayor. The recommendation is there, which includes all of the pieces regarding the, I guess you'd call them the restrictions and the commentary that came from everywhere from number 1, St. John's Regional Fire Department, all the way through to the conservation zone and some of the consideration. Deputy Mayor, would you like to say anything? Or if you start typing, that's good. I'll go to somebody else and then come back to you if that's the way you'd like to do it. Or I know you are on the committee and the committee has supported this recommendation in the past. Council, anybody else want to join in? Councillor Locke.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't know if the Deputy Mayor was typing or not, so I'll jump in. Councillor Antle did a good job in summarizing the details around this particular development. And this is not the first, as Councillor Antle said, about some intensification process. I think back to my tenure on council and the intensification process that took place on Glendale Avenue. The one on Municipal Avenue is another one there. Avery Place as well. And many of the concerns, and they're legitimate concerns, were raised during these developments. And as the Councillor Antle said, through our public briefing sessions and the feedback that we receive, we did take all these into consideration during our deliberations for this particular development. And I know for one, Councillor Antle mentioned about the heat pumps. That was a big concern. For example, down on the Municipal Avenue, they were concerned with all these mini splits that were going to be constructed. I think there was 26 down there, Mayor, if memory serves me correctly. So I think 2 more than this particular development. And as we explained with our regulations for noise, the decibel level at your property boundary, but I haven't received a single complaint since those projects were developed down there. I understand it's a beautiful area down there with mature trees, and there was concern about privacy and noise, but this privacy fence that Councillor Antle described, 6 foot high, that will attenuate some of the, if there's any noise, but many of these mini splits, they're relatively quiet, and we will preserve the natural landscape down there, as the councillor said. So, I'm supportive of that as well. There was concerns about the Waterford River and the conservation zone there. We have measures in place right there. The ownership model was concerned whether these were going to be rental units. And again, based on my experience, there's a concept when people think about row housing, that they think it's social housing, or that it's low-income housing, or that it's poor quality housing. But this development is a very nice development. These are going to be very nice units. And to gauge as well as that I know I and my council colleagues, often say, is it something that we would accept in our backyard? And in my case, I would happily welcome this development into my neighborhood because I think it'll fit in there. It's not going to be a huge traffic generator, given the potential clients here. It's going to be a condominium agreement in place. And as we said, under our Housing Accelerator Fund, we need intensification to be sustainable in this city. We're running a budget of around $55 million right now. The cost of everything is increasing. We have 16 square kilometers of property in the city of Mount Pearl. And we just found out, was brought in for Moffett Drive development, phase 7. That'll be the finale of that. And then we have Northlands up on north of Topsail Road. So we're limited in our land area. So to generate additional revenues, intensification is something that we have to look at. So having considered all the information, I've received emails, I've read all the briefing notes from our residents. I just want to reiterate that I do support this, but that doesn't mean we didn't listen to our residents. We did, and we always take that into consideration. And sometimes in the past, residents would say, well, you didn't listen to us. And I said, I did listen, but I just arrived at a decision that was contrary to what you would have liked. But, as a council that looks out, we have to look at the city as a whole. There is a need for this type of housing. I think it meets our regulations. It's going to be a high quality development for the housing here. So I'm in full support of this. And I want to commend Councillor Antle on a good job presenting this today. Thank you, Mayor.
I'm going to wrap up. Where am I? Councillor Fry? We'll do the deputy mayor and then we'll circle back. Would the clerk please read or the CAO? I can't see the font. Sorry, folks.
I will read the deputy mayor's comment. The deputy mayor stated, I remain supportive and optimistic on this type of development. As the regulations, stewardship, and bylaws outline, my colleagues will ensure the right actions and measures will be taken by the developer. I want to thank the many neighbors who offered their feedback and concerns as they guided us in our discussion and review of how we can ensure this is the most healthy and prosperous type of housing.
Okay, thank you. Before I turn to you, Councillor Fry, Deputy Mayor, despite the logistical issues here tonight, you've had the report since Friday. You're able to read it and understand the analysis. Okay, I just want to make sure that our communication gap here has not led to where you're in a position that you don't feel you can vote. You feel very comfortable and very informed? Okay, thank you. Councillor Fry.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that it's important that we acknowledge and understand the residents' concerns because it's their neighborhood. And as Councillor Locke said, we put a lot of, we did speak of this a lot. And the whole point of consultations is to hear from the neighborhood and then work with that. And in this particular case, we have added things to our development permit and added requirements based on the feedback that we received. So I want people to know that, like the deputy mayor said, we do appreciate your feedback and please don't think that you weren't heard because you were. It's just that we have a lot of people who need homes at the moment and you can have the best neighbors move into your neighborhood. And I really do hope that's the case.
Thank you, Mayor. No, I just want to, add to all my colleagues, this wasn't an easy decision. And most decisions at council table are not easy decisions. I mean, some that are, that go through as tender process and stuff like that are passed. But like Councillor Locke mentioned, there was a lot of deliberation, a lot of comments, a lot of feedback from residents. We took every comment that came through and we dealt through our planning department, through Catherine. All the information came back to emails, and I was on the PEG committee myself and Councillor Antle at the time I was filling in for the deputy mayor. And, you know, we had many coffees over all the questions and the, you know, which direction do we go in? And, you know, the type of housing that will go there. And all the questions like, and Councillor Antle did a really good job delivering all the messages regarding of what we're planning on doing. You know, with the condominium layout stuff, you know, we get, you know, when the agreement of the condominium agreement, the construction of a permanent privacy fence on both sides, submission of detailed landscaping plan, illustrating the presentation of the existing mature trees. So, and, you know, we need to know that all that's going to remain there and we can control what's going to happen in that area. So, you know, it was a tough decision for all of us. And like Councillor Fry has mentioned, you know, we have a very limited space, 16 square kilometers in the city. And we got to try to look at every parcel of land and what best suits our development or have funding initiatives and our development for intensification. So I certainly support the initiative as well. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. I think I'm going to wrap up, Councillor Antle, if that's okay with you. You know, the half aside, this is raw land here in the city of Mount Pearl, and we're a duly elected council, and we have a responsibility to our residents, not just in the neighborhood, but, you know, throughout the city. The process was robust. It was consultative. It was engaging. It's been to committee of the whole at least 2 times. It's also gone through committee several times. That's where all the major work was done. I think staff gave us a lot of good advice. I think at the end of the day, to Councillor Locke's point, it's very similar to some of the intense developments we've done here in the city, but glad to say that the process is ongoing. We're going to call the motion now in a second. But it's in keeping with allowing the city to grow, and we have a lot of green space in this city. We'll have less after this. But I think it's going to be a nice place for people to live. And I know people are knocking on many of our doors looking for places to stay in the city of Mount Pearl, especially seniors. I'm going to call the question. Are you all in favor? Anybody opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you so much. Back to you, Councillor Antle.
Worship. Remaining ones won't be as number 3. It's the community center splash pad and ice surface request change order number 3 for remedial action plan. A supplement environmental site assessment was recently completed for the project site. In compliance with the recommendations of this assessment, a remedial action plan, including oversight of the site remediation, is being implemented. The Planning, Engineering, Development Committee recommends approval of the change order number 3 for the remedial action plan in the amount of $11,996.50 plus HST to facilitate the timely execution of the remedial action plan, ensuring compliance with environmental standards. And I so move.
It is moved by Councillor Antle, and thank you, seconded by the Deputy Mayor. Any questions, Council? I know we're having a groundbreaking tomorrow, so this project is moving along very fast. I'll call the question. All in favor? Contraminded? That's carried as well. Thanks.
Before Councillor Antle gets on, I'm going to recuse myself from the next item for on grounds of conflict, potential conflict. So I'll leave the chambers now, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. We'll call you back when this motion is finished.
Let's clear a room. Well, this has to do with number 20 Bannister Street, a demolition. The property and dwelling at 20 Bannister Street has existed in a dilapidated state for a number of years. The city has continually tried to enforce maintenance of the property to no avail. Multiple communications to the property owner have been undertaken, and notices and orders have been issued to remedy the deficiencies, but to no avail. Due to the current hazardous conditions of the dwelling and the heightened safety risks the property and the dwelling is causing, the dwelling is now required to be demolished. On November 28, 2023, Council approved a demolition order for 20 Banner Street and served notice via registered mail pursuant to Section 238 of the City of Mount Pearl Act. After 6 months, the registered mail was returned to sender after the homeowner refused to accept. The city is issuing a second demolition order to be posted on the property for 30 days, after which the city will proceed with demolitioning of the structure pursuant to Section 239 of the City of Mount Pearl Act and will recover the cost carrying out of demolition as of a civil debt. The Planning, Engineering, and Development Committee recommends that the council authorize the Chief Administrative Officer to issue an order to the property owner of 20 Bannister Street, Mount Pearl, to remedy the hazardous condition of the property by the demolition and removal of the dwelling and all other structures on the property within 30 days of being served. I so move.
It is moved by Counselor Antle and seconded by the Deputy Mayor. I'm going to call the question. This is a health and safety issue. All in favor? Those opposed? Thank you. Carried.
And just for the benefit of council, in your kit, you can see the demolition order there. We didn't have to read it through, but that will be delivered. Thank you.
All right, welcome back, Counselor Locke, and returning to you, Counselor Antle. Moved by Counselor Antle. Thank you very much. Second by Deputy Mayor. All in favor? Contraminded and carried. Again, moved by Counselor Antle, second by Deputy Mayor. All in favor? Those opposed? That's carried as well. Back to you.
Thank you, Worship. And now, number 7. This is our capital projects update. Our asphalt and concrete repairs will start work this week, July the 2nd. There's a request for proposal for engineering service for design of Holden Street, and upgrading should be issued. It should be back. A request for proposal for the engineering service and design for Jackman Drive, and that upgrading should be issued and started July 2024. The tender should be back, I'm sorry. Request for a proposal for sanitary sewer modeling to be issued July 2024. There's a request for a proposal for storm sewer modeling to be issued in mid-July 2024. Birch Avenue is ongoing, is just a top coat, and that should start pretty soon, or this next couple of weeks. Farrell Drive is ongoing. Carroll Drive is ongoing. Olympic Drive is ongoing. Line painting is ongoing with just parking lots left to do. And that's everything for our committee, Your Worship.
Thank you very, very much. And we're going to turn now to the Recreation Community Safety Report, and I believe it's Counselor Locke leading.
Sorry, I was up. I thought I was up second, but that's fine. The first item for us, Mayor, has to do with the Association for the Arts in Mount Pearl and the 2024 operating grant. Our committee is recommending approval to release the funds for 2024, again, in the amount of $10,000 based on the current memorandum of understanding with the city and the future activity plans for the association, and I so move.
It is moved by Counselor Locke, seconded by Counselor Fry. All in favor?
Aye,
Those opposed? Motion carried.
and I'll turn it over now to Councillor Fry. Thank you, Mayor.
Our agenda is not as big as the other two tonight.
It's nice that people are brief though, right?
Well, this is a good one. Our 2024 canoe, kayak, and summer program. That's for the information of public. The details for the summer 2024 canoe and kayak program will be promoted on all platforms of social media within the coming weeks. And the program commence date, weather permitting, is today, Tuesday, July the 2nd. And we always get a good uptake on this program, and it's one that we're very proud of. So looking forward to another successful summer of canoe and kayaking. And that's it for us this evening, Your Worship.
Thank you very much. We had a good meeting, done a lot of business done tonight, folks. Summer is upon us, and I see we have some folks that are here tonight. Sometimes some people for the first time, but I'm pleased to welcome Sean McKenna. We have Janice Mullins and Catherine Power who are joining us, and some of our more senior staff are on leave, so welcome to you. We'll finish up our meeting now with a roundtable, starting with you, Councillor Locke.
Thank you, Mayor. I know we referenced this, referenced this earlier, the Canada Day celebrations that were hosted at our indoor location on Monday. And I just want to tip my hat to, again, all of our dedicated staff. I thought it was a great event. They had to make a call the night before due to weather to bring it indoors, and they did it, without a hitch. So Director Jason Collins, was present all day there yesterday, and certainly leading up to it, and also acknowledge Rosie and Allison and Hannah, and there's the other young woman whose name escapes me. Anyways, they did a tremendous job. I was very impressed with the numbers, that turned out, and also I want to commend our staff on. I know we had a visit from the Prime Minister of Canada. He decided to join our Canada Day celebrations. And of course, that's not something that just happens at the drop of a hat. There's tremendous planning and security measures and all that sort of stuff. And once again, I just want to commend our staff, Jason Collins, Director, for stepping up, and all the support staff that Director Collins has around him as well. So it was a great job. Just another couple of things. Thank you. It was Catherine was the other, and I apologize, Catherine, for forgetting your name. So yeah, she too was involved in the Canada Day celebrations. Thank you, Councillor Fry. Just a couple of other things regarding the summer and the nice weather, despite what's out there now. I just want to remind our residents and guests to the city that every Friday in the months of July and August, we are returning our Centennial Park Summer Concert Series right outside here next to City Hall. And it's a free, family-friendly pop-up concert. There will be live local performers, and they'll be on the stage outside here from 12 p.m. to 1:30 p.m., of course, weather permitting. And that's every Friday in July and August. So that's always a lovely event. I know I've been getting many requests. Yesterday at the Canada Day celebrations, people were asking, when are City Days? When is the schedule coming out? And the City Days still? And I said, yes, indeed, we have it planned. So it's happening from July the 18th to July 21st. And the event schedule will be posted on the city's website in the coming days. And one thing that really stood out for me at our Canada Day celebrations, we had entertainment at the start of the event, and it was multicultural. We had performers from Cuba, from dancers from India, from Ukraine, from Brazil, and then of course we had local talents as well. So it was a wonderful event, and I commended Director Collins on that. And he said, well, stay tuned for City Days, because there's some neat events upcoming for that. So again, just to remind folks, July 18th to the 21st, we will have our annual City Days celebration. And that is it for me, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm going to come back to the Deputy Mayor in a few minutes. Or have you finished your all good? Could I have the assistance again of the clerk to please read out the Deputy Mayor?
Okay, the Deputy Mayor is speaking to emergency preparedness in the city. And she noted that with heavy rainfall warnings, she wanted to remind citizens of emergency preparedness and the incidence of inclement weather. We, like many places, are experiencing the impact of climate change. She welcomes all to visit the Newfoundland government website and the emergency services site that offer helpful checklists for residents to be prepared.
Thank you very much. Good stuff. You finished, Deputy Mayor, for tonight? Okay, thank you. Councillor Antle.
I only got 10 things, but I'll make. The Councillor Locke, I gotta say, the concerts in the park on Fridays, fabulous. I was gonna mention, but I show up there every Friday, I get a sandwich over to the Rocket, support Rocket, and it's really, really enjoyable. On Tuesday, June the 18th, myself and Councillor Rice were co-chairs with the Regional Fire Department here for the City of Mount Pearl, and we had the opportunity to attend their Service Medal Awards presented by the Premier. Many of the members of the fire department received the awards for the 20, 25, 30, 35, and 40 years of service. It was fabulous. And we took the time to honor them at the award ceremony. These firefighters, have to give most of their years saving lives and letting us sleep at night. So we certainly passed on our thanks from the City of Mount Pearl and wish them well. On the following Friday, they had as we passed on the service awards, the mayor and I think Councillor Rice, I think, again attended the new recruits. So as guys got ready to retire, there was 14 new recruits, so the St. John's Regional Fire Department was in great shape. This afternoon, myself and Councillor Rice had the opportunity, I hope Mark wasn't planning to mention all these too, right? But we had the opportunity to go to the tennis club here in Mount Pearl. In Canada, Canada won the Billie Jean Cup in 2023. And the Billie Jean Cup is right here in Mount Pearl right now at the tennis complex. Billie Jean King, as you know, I'm right into tennis, right? But that was formerly known as the Federation Cup. I knew that, right? Yeah. Yeah, there you go. But this cup was launched in this cup was launched in 1963. That's why I wasn't around then. So, right, I wasn't born then. It's now the largest annual international team competition in women's sports. And it was great to see that the cup was right here in the tennis complex and we've had a chance to drop over. We know that everybody else is busy at work, so myself and Mark had a chance to do that. And just last thing for me, on Wednesday, July the 3rd, Alex Taylor's having a fundraiser over to the Baptist Church, a food bank fundraiser. So if anybody's available to drop by, certainly appreciate it. And that's everything from me, Your Worship. And everybody have a good summer.
Sounds like you're going on leave. Over to you, Councillor Rice.
Thank you, Worship. I'll be brief as I can, but a lot of good points by Councillor Locke and Councillor Rental so far. You said everything that I was going to say, but no, I got a couple other things to add there. But I just want to say, we do, as councillors, we do attend a lot of events, in the city and outside the city through regional events. And, we always got representation there, and it's so good to see, as some councillors are representing the whole of council at these events, which is really nice to see. And, sometimes we don't get a chance, with our busy schedules. We still got a lot of councillors that are working a full-time job and stuff. So it's not so nice for at least some councillors to show up there. So I'll just go right into a couple of small things for me. I just want to say big kudos to our municipal police, our park patrol, and our city staff. They're putting off the safe seniors walks now in the city. I attended one last Thursday up at the just off of Richard Nolan Drive, and I did the walk with the seniors. There was like 24, 26, I think, in total showed up, and they also had another one. Now said they had a little boil up. That one was down off of the walkway down by Park Place. So nice to see, city staff and doing this event for the seniors, and they were so excited that this initiative is done by the city and the staff. So kudos and hats off to the staff and anybody who had involvement with that. Great job. Also, I just want to make a comment on the HAVE funding on June the 26th on Wednesday. We had city staff put off the HAVE funding here in the chambers for developers, anybody wanted to attend, any residents, developers, landowners, and we had quite the turnout. It was, I just want to say, I'm not going to mention any city staff that were here because I'll probably forget somebody, but whoever had a hand in putting all that together, we had several comments from some developers that I talked to privately, and was a lot of the councillors show up here for that. And they were really impressed with how organized it was, the pamphlets that were given out and the information. showing the undeveloped land and the areas that, some of the city land that was owned. So they were really impressed with that. So I just want to say a big thank you to all the staff who had a hand in that. And the last thing I want to comment on is, we had our Canada Day celebrations up at the Legion, Legion 36 here in Mount Pearl, on Saturday, and because of the celebrations, I guess, at the War Memorial downtown. And I watched it on TV. I never got to attend down there, but I got to say I was blown away by how organized, how professional, and how, like the mayor mentioned in his preamble there tonight, it was like heart-wrenching, a celebration, and all into one. So it was certainly a big celebration and I guess a part in history of Newfoundland and Labrador, and a big kudos to the provincial government and federal government who put it all together. And I know the two organizers from the Legion, it was a world-class act. I just want to say congratulations on behalf of me and all the council on that. Thank you, Your Worship. That's it for me.
Thank you very much. And for the finale, Councillor Fry.
Yes, most everything has been said when you go last at a roundtable, but I do have a few things. Just further to the Billie Jean King Cup, I stopped up there as well, and I was really impressed to know that this was the first time that Canada has won this cup, and they beat out Australia. This is an international tournament. I don't know a lot about tennis either, but I was really interested in this because Canada ended the year ranked as the #1 women's team in the world for the first time in history. So that's quite an accomplishment, and the cup, of course, is beautiful. So congratulations, and it was really nice that they're doing a tour with the cup. So it was nice to see them here in our beautiful city. Also, I just wanted to, for the information of the public, I just wanted to remind everyone that the annual Holy Sepulchre Cemetery service will be held on July the 23rd at 7 p.m. And there will be reduced traffic lanes on Topsail Road and Black Marsh Road commencing at 12 noon on this day. So again, that's July the 23rd. And there's always, that's always well attended. So that will be traffic in that area at that time. And finally, for me, you guys may have noticed that our Councillor Lane is not here tonight, but any day now, she's going to have her baby. And she wished she could be here, but for health reasons, she was advised to just rest until the baby comes. So perhaps this time next week, we'll have a new baby added. So best wishes to Chelsea from all of us. And that's it for me, Your Worship.
Good meeting, folks. A little longer than usual, but, very engaging. Good commentary all around. Reports were well delivered. And, it was a fast and furious weekend between Memorial Day, Canada Day, and of course we had the visit from the Prime Minister. And I know we don't like singing people so much. It's more about teams here at the city. But those in the Recreation and Community Safety Department outdid themselves, I have to say, with the support of Public Works and other departments. But, the coordination that was required for a prime ministerial visit is a lot more than the public will ever see. A lot of work went into it, and the weather didn't cooperate. So the pivot for Canada Day occurred quite swiftly. It's always a risk when you're trying to predict the weather, but I want to give Jason Collins, he called it. He might be on the regatta committee next. You never know, right? But no, he called it. It was really a very quick move to get into the glacier, and I think it was a fantastic plan B. So to him, and of course Rosie and Allison in the department, we give our congratulations. A lot of good feedback. The facility was transitioned really quickly. I'm just glad we didn't have ice on it, because we wouldn't need to be breaking ground for an ice pad if we could hold Canada Day events on ice, would we now? So with that in mind, I'm going to call for a motion to adjourn as we're done. And thank you. Moved by Councillor Locke and second by Councillor Fry. We're adjourned. Good night, everybody.